Well, in the Ukrainian port city of Odesa is Michael Bociurkiw, Global Affairs Analyst and Senior Fellow at the Atlantic Council. Great to have you back with us, Michael, once again. I want to get your take about the situation on the ground there in Odesa where you are. But first, I have to say, the eyes of the world right now are on that port city, hoping to see grain out and onto global markets as a matter of urgency. What is the sense there about how imminent that might be?
Well, of course, there's a lot of hope. I mean, I have to tell you, Helena, I've been here many times pre-war, and it's a disaster here. It's a ghost town. You might be able to see behind me tank traps, and just to the left of me is a big military checkpoint, and this is right in the city center. So a lot of people have left. None of the 3 million tourists that have been expected here this summer have come. Beaches are deserted because people are afraid of sea mines floating up onto the beaches. It's just really dealt a big blow to this once very vibrant city. But there is hope that the grain will start flowing because basically Odesa has two industries. One is the port city, and then one is the port, and then the other is the tourism and the entertainment side. So that could very quickly come back to life if the Russians adhere to the agreements, if all sides adhere to the agreement.
Now, this particular deal is a UN-backed deal, and of course we understand that if Russia violates the terms of it, I guess the question is, what is the sense as to whether the UN will actually be able to arbitrate in the case of a worst-case scenario?
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, the Joint Coordination Center was open today in Istanbul. That's kind of the easy part. The difficult part will be to get Russia, which is essentially a rogue state, to adhere to the deal. One day after the agreement was signed, as you know, they targeted Odesa with missiles, hitting the very port that is supposed to export the grain. So the UN has, Mr. Guterres, the UN Secretary General, has put a lot of stake into this. His reputation is basically on the line. He said it's one of the most important agreements he's ever been involved in. And I'm not so sure the Russians will find their way to keep it going. Having said that, very quickly, there are Russian ally states like Egypt and other countries in North Africa, Middle East, who are on the brink of famine. And they expect Russia to get that grain finally going.
Yeah, that's a very important point to make there, particularly with Russia and its allies there and looking for partnerships in Africa. So on the other side, then, as you've just mentioned, we have this jointly controlled centre in Istanbul, which has been opened today to check these grain exports. Do you think that is building confidence and trust?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, when I was with the OSCE in 2014, 2015, we had a similar center in Donbass, which was supposed to mediate problems. It's very, very much the same model. But what happened at the end, the Russians didn't think they're getting a fair deal out of this. They didn't. It wasn't operating according to their rules. So what did they do? They walked away from it. They could do the same here. But it's good to see Turkey so heavily involved. Mr. Erdogan is a very pragmatic man. He wants to be seen as a statesperson, a peace broker. I don't think he would push himself that much and also have talks with Mr. Putin shortly, unless he thought something could work here.
A really fascinating insight into how that centre will and could work. Michael Bociurkiw, Global Affairs Analyst and Senior Fellow at the Atlantic Council in that port city, of course, of Odesa in Ukraine. Good to talk to you and do take care. Thank you.